and welcome to The Talking Voice. I'm your host, the Heavy Hero. Today is the 15th episode of this show. How wonderful! I am freshly back from seeing Pacific Rim, so we'll be chatting about that. We'll also be covering Now You See Me, and finally we'll go over Anchorman. So it's going to be a pretty movie-heavy episode today. I hope you don't mind. We're going to dive right in with Anchorman, one of my favorite films with Will Ferrell, Christina Applegate, Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, and David Koechner, I think it is. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Great crew. Lots of other guest appearances with Luke Wilson and, I can't think of his name. Ben Stiller. There we are. And Ben Stiller. All these people just showing up in this great comedy about news characters. Wonderful film. Just wonderful. Hilarious. One of Will Ferrell's finest moments. I've actually done my research on this one today with most of these films I'm talking about, so I even know the director was Adam McKay, who has also directed such things as Step Brothers, another fun movie, and The Other Guys. Fantastic. Both with Will Ferrell. He does a lot of Will Ferrell films, believe it or not. And Anchorman is one of my favorites. There's action and fighting in it, and there's news, and great stuff. Let's see here. What else can I talk about besides just saying it's great? There's a man who punts a dog named Baxter. The dog's name is Baxter, not the man. That was portrayed by Jack Black. Man, there are lots of famous people in this movie. Good collaboratory effort into making a great piece of comedy. The dialogue is witty and funny and right in your face. And they're making a sequel to it. I think that's coming out on Christmas this year. So that'll be fun. I'm going to go see it. I doubt it will be as good, but I'm still going to pay money to see it because that's what I do. Let's jump right into... Now, if you haven't seen these movies, I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get rid of, spoilers and talk about things in there. But Now You See Me is a movie about stage magicians and sort of the idea of the magic that it has compared to sort of like the capitalism idea. Are you really making money, or are you performing for the joy of bringing joy to all the people who come to see your shows, or are you just doing it for the big paycheck? And this one also has a bunch of real famous people in it. Let's see here. I've got it all written down. Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson, Ilsa Fisher, Dave Franco, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine is even in this movie as a pompous rich guy who gets all his money stolen by the magicians he's sponsoring. It was a lot of fun. Not the best movie plot-wise, but still just a lot of fun to see all these tricks they pull off and how it all just comes together. It's a really well set up film. Nice surprise at the end. Great movie though. Well, not great. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I wouldn't call it great. It doesn't go in the greats category. Very good movie. Lots of fun. Probably a ton of plot holes that I'll figure out later and poke out. But still a fun movie to go see. Really cool in the theaters. Let's get down to the real important one now. Pacific Rim. Giant robot fights with monsters. It's like Godzilla meets the Power Rangers is like the best way I can think of saying this. This movie's got, let's see here, Idris Elba, Charlie Hunnam, I think is how you say it. Rinko Kikichi, Charlie Day, and Ron Perlman, and some lots of other great people in this. And it comes together to do very well. some of the things about this movie, it feels like humanity is constantly at the downfall. They are constantly losing this battle against giant monsters who have opened up a rift space in the, I think it's in the floor of an ocean, which seems like a terrible space to enter the Earth at, because, I mean, wouldn't you just, like, flood your planet every time you try and come through? That's just my guess. One little thing. I mean, the fighting was lots of fun to watch. Sword fights with giant robot monsters. But yes, I'll say it again. Humanity is constantly losing this battle. They had some really cool giant robots that just get destroyed, which is so sad. And it's weird to see Charlie Day from Always Sunny in Philadelphia portray a scientist. I mean, he's still got that wacky kind of in it, out of it attitude. And when he's talking, he talks really fast and jumps subjects like that. Like, there's just nothing in between. But very fun movie. I would even say this one was great. I would give this a very high recommendation to go see. Best seen in theaters, I think, because it really gives you the full effect of the scope of how big these things are. I mean, it's always, the aliens have such cool, nice, glowing blood, so whenever you see a cut, you can see it the whole time. Or if their tail's missing, it's just this big old glowing chunk of meat that's gone there. Great stuff. Lots of fun fights. They even go into space for a little bit, and there's flying monsters, different categories for them, lots of explosions. I cannot recommend this movie enough to those people. It may not have the best plot. It was pretty good. I don't think I could find anything that I really hated about the plot-wise, or even disliked. I liked it a lot. I feel like there's some things going to show up later that I'm going to think about. But, right from fresh out of it, I can say this was a fantastic movie to go see. I mean, I love giant robots. I like to see them fight things. It's always like pleasure. When we actually get to the point of having giant robot fights, I mean, it's going to be just great. Maybe that'll be my next bracket board. But that means I got to finish this one. So, let's jump into the big bracket board now. So, alright. We're on the final tier stuff. Let's start over here. We got John McClane versus a bear. So, let's mull this over real quick. Ha! Ha ha ha. Maul, like a bear mauls people. Mull it over. I get it. John McClane, fan of getting out of, hairy situations. Bears are hairy. Sorry, this is just bad. These are bad jokes, but I can't help it. So, John McClane versus a bear. Now, as I see it, if they were both in the woods, John McClane doesn't have his weapon. I mean, it's a tough one. The bear's got the natural claws, but John McClane's got the thinking power of being human and, very smart. I feel like he could, climb a tree, drop kick down on it, break its skull. The bear could just, hug him and just, crush him and then eat him and gain his strength. Well, I'm going to have to think this one over a little bit more and get back to you on the next one. So, thank you for joining me for this episode of The Talking Voice. We'll see you next week.